members' business. Notice number 8, education, skills and training. Motion by the member for Dunkley.
I call the member for Dunkley.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I move the motion relating to education, skills and training in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper. The Universal Declaration on Human Rights and the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights recognise that everyone has the right to education. The Convention on the Rights of the Child provides that the education of a child shall be directed to the development of the child's personality, talents and mental and physical abilities to their fullest potential. And as the general comment on the International Covenant on Economic and Social and Cultural Rights notes, education is both a human right in itself and an indispensable means of realising other human rights. Education is the primary vehicle by which economically and socially marginalised adults and children can lift themselves out of poverty and obtain the means to participate fully in their communities. Education is also one of the best financial investments states can make. And importantly, as the comment notes, a well-educated, enlightened and active mind able to wander freely and widely is one of the joys and rewards of human existence. We know in this country that simply providing access to education, simply saying there's a school or a TAFE or a training facility or a university is not enough. We need to do more to make sure that children and students not only can afford to go and get training and education and higher education, but that they are engaged and connected in that education and training. And that is particularly important when it comes to schooling. Not all students learn in the same way. Not all students engage in the same way. But all students, all children, have a right to a quality basic education. The move under the previous federal Labor government towards needs-based or Gonski funding was an important move towards acknowledging this and an important ambition towards more fairer funding and provision of education. But we know there is so much more to be done. There was more to be done before the last 2 years, where the impact of the pandemic and necessary shutdowns and remote learning impacted children. It impacted their education, some of their socialisation and, in too many cases, mental health. There was more to be done before that, and there is so much more to be done now as a consequence of health measures that were necessary, also impacting on education. A 2019 publication produced by Save the Children called Future Directions on Hands-on Learning, Keeping Young People Connected to Education and Building Capacity for Future Success, noted that there should be a greater focus on engagement at school through developing a positive learning disposition. Engagement is defined as not just turning up, but also a student's connection with learning. It's a proven game-changer education. It can help improve social mobility and mitigate inequality of opportunity, particularly for young people who experience disadvantage. Engaging all Australian children in their learning journey is a key. And in 2019, Save the Children, which has taken over running of a program that comes from my electorate, that comes from Frankston, called Hands-on Learning, called on the federal government and other governments to make this engagement a priority in 2019 and into the next decade. And that call just has so much more power now. But nothing has been done in response to that call. Governments need to make engagement in learning and access to learning a priority. What is hands-on learning? It's a practical school program that builds on wellbeing, engagement and attendance by creating opportunities for students to discover their talents and experience success through significant and authentic hands-on projects. It was piloted at Frankston High School in 1999 by Russell Kerr OAM as a response to too many years witnessing struggling students with different learning styles, written off prematurely and not given the opportunity to realise their potential. It's in 100 schools now, and 95% of students that engage go on to stay in education, get a job or get an apprenticeship. It's a top 100 global collection Finnish education, not-for-profit program. It should be funded to go from 100 schools to about 300 schools across this country. I've seen firsthand at Frankston High School, Elizabeth Murdoch, Mount Eliza College, Patterson River Secondary College, across my electorate, how great it is for children, their families and the community, and I call on the federal government to fund hands-on learning.
I thank the member for Dunkley. Is the motion seconded? I call